Good evening and welcome to the Zoning Board of Appeals hearing of Wednesday, November 29th, 2023. At this time, I'm going to call upon everyone so that we can stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd ask that you all remain standing for a moment of silence in honor of our soldiers past and present. Thank you. I'd ask at this time anyone who has a cell phone or any other type of device to either mute it or shut it off. So I just did the same. So moving along, I'd like to make an announcement. The next scheduled Zoning Board of Appeals meeting is on Wednesday, December 13th, 2023 at 6 o'clock p.m. here in this building. Moving on to the public hearings portion of tonight's meeting. It's variance case ZAV 23-7, which was continued from November 15, 2023, and also special permit ZSP 23-3, which was also continued from November 15, 2023. For our viewers at home, this was a petition that was filed by Gabriel Baruti. The owner of the property is George B. Rashed. The subject property is located at 610 State Road, also known as MAP 165, Lot 2. The property is located in the General Business Aquifer Protection Overlay District. We've previously had and waived the reading of the abutters list. The matter was advertised on May 18th and May 25th of this year. In this case, the petitioner is seeking a variance to build a 30 by 34-foot addition onto an existing business building for office space, and they're seeking relief from Article 18, Section 375-18.4B setbacks, Article 33, Section 375-33.2 minimum setback dimensions, and also for the special permit of their request, it's Article 28, Section 375-28.5B, Aquifer Protection Overlay District. Now, I think the petition says that they were seeking a building 30 feet by 34 feet, but I believe that this has been amended. They proposed a smaller building. Although the plan doesn't have the exact dimensions, I'm sure the petitioner hopefully can provide some light to us here today. We've already read the comments from other agencies and boards for the town into the record prior to tonight's hearing. I know that if you gentlemen remember, this matter's been before us at least 2 or 3 times. And on the last occasion, there were some issues concerning some of the detail on the plan that I had concerns with, and I think some of that has been addressed. So at this time, I'm going to call upon the petitioner. If he can identify himself for the record, his name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is George B. Rashed, 610 State Road. So after our last meeting, we did the changes and we marked on the new drawing. So the addition was getting smaller to 28 by 26.
What is it, 20 what?
26 and 28.
All right, so it's 26.2 by 28?
Yes.
All right, are you able to verify for me where it shows that there's 28 feet on the plan?
The 28 feet is deep back. And the 26.2, it's aligned with the existing building.
Okay, but deep, but is there a dimension on the plan that shows the 28 feet?
There's another plan that was submitted that was updated last time.
I got one here, it's dated November, this one is dated November 24th, 2023. Is that the most recent one?
Yes, this one that includes the parking spots and there's another one that was uploaded as well. Do you want me to show it to you?
Sure.
All right.
How do I not see
So
all these?
this one was uploaded was 28.26.2. This is for the addition.
All right, so this is on the architectural plan. This is not on the actual plot plan, but it's the architectural plan. Is that what you're telling me? So it's on the architectural, but I'm talking about this plan here. If you look at this plan, you see the 26.2?
Yeah.
There's a measurement there. There's nothing there, but I presume it's probably the same, but there's nothing here. But you're telling me it's 20, so what you have to understand is whatever I grant to you here, that's what you have to build. Because if you decide, if I tell you, if we grant this at 28 by 26.2, and you build 28 and a half by 26.2, you're gonna be coming back.
Okay.
There are gonna be a lot of issues. So I don't want you to be confronted with that. So if you're telling me it's 28 feet, then I will put that into the decision that it's 28 by 26.2.
Okay.
Okay. Continue.
So you demanded as well to put the existing building size. We've marked it on the plans, the existing building.
Yes.
And the setbacks as well, which
Yes.
is 3.8 or 2.9, and the parking spots.
All right. But it would have been nice if I'd had another dimension towards the bottom of that building that would show me in the southwest corner of the building that there was a dimension there, because I don't know, it looks like it's probably the same, but I don't know. I'm only gonna go off what the plan shows here. So whatever that distance is,
Yep.
and I think you gotta be cautious when you let your builder know that he's gonna follow what this plan says.
Yep.
Because there are no actual written dimensions here. All right. And you also delineated some parking spaces?
Yes, the parking spaces are as well mentioned on the plan.
All right. Gentlemen, any questions?
Just with regard to the parking spaces, the ones that come off of Route 6, is there a curb cut there so you can drive right off of Route 6 into those parking spaces? There's no curb,
Curb.
no curb. And the same is true for the 2 parking spaces on Hillcrest?
Yes.
No
there is
curb.
not- No curb.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Doctor, any questions?
Yes, I was wondering if we should ask him to give us a map with the numbers before we accept anything in that nature.
Doctor, the only thing is I've already asked for this a couple of times, and it seems as if the petitioner may not quite understand my requests, but we're gonna go off what this plan shows. So any engineer, architect would be able to read off of this plan. And I'm gonna put that it's 28 feet by 26.2, and that's what he's gonna be bound by. Otherwise, if you don't feel comfortable, that's fine, we're gonna have to continue the matter, and he's gonna have to go get the plans revised once again. But this has been, the last time we continued it was for that very reason. They only addressed one of the concerns that I had, there was still 2 more measurements that still haven't been placed on there. But he's telling me it's 28 by 26.2, I'm okay with that, and that's what he's gonna build. Now, if it's on the plan, it shows 30, if it's 30 on the plan, and it's 28 on the architectural plans, he's gonna have an issue, because my decision says 28. Or our decision is gonna say 28, I should say.
I agree with you, but at the same time, it's better for him to have it completely organized from the beginning to the end. Otherwise, if you start to put a base and then all of a sudden we tell him, hey, listen, you're over and this and that, and it become very difficult to go back and redo.
Okay, because like,
I completely agree with you, Doc. But we've already given him, I've already sent him back 3 times.
You make the decision.
Well, it's not just my decision. You have to vote on this as well, and it's a unanimous board.
Thank you.
When I say unanimous board, in order for you to prevail on the relief that you're seeking, you need to get all 3 of us to vote on your behalf. I don't think that the issue is what you're asking for, it's how it's being presented and the fact that there's some lacking information still on this plan. But, I don't know, I've got another member here, let's see what he's got to say. If,
My preference would be that the plan be accurate. And that if we're gonna enter a decision saying that there's 28 feet from, that the sides of the new building are gonna be 28 feet, not 28.3, not 28.4, but exactly 28 feet, the plan should reflect that, because that's what's gonna be on record here.
because there's like as well the architectural plans.
But the problem is that the architectural plan is not the plot plan. This survey plan puts this property so many feet away from the property lines. And that's what's controlling here.
Okay.
Because you're seeking relief from setbacks. That's what you're seeking relief from. And we have to ensure that that we've got the appropriate dimensions here.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I know I recused myself. I'm not,
No, but
what we need to discuss has nothing to do with this case, but in the previous, I agree, there was some miscommunication. This is a very simple project. I can't see someone going back and forth 6 times on this addition, but what we've done in the past, you can include in your decision, cite the 28 by 26, and I believe this is what the addition is, and ask the petitioner to resubmit a revised plan before they get a building permit. So this way, they can go back,
Yes.
and then the revised plan would be for our record. But I believe there's some miscommunication, and I sympathize with
I get it, and I,
it's a very simple project. It should have been gotten this far, but I think that's what's happening. So we can do that. We've done that in the past. And again, it's up to you, up to the other members, but I think it's fair.
thank you for that suggestion. So how do the board members feel? So just so that we're all on the same page, and we understand what Halim had
I'm
indicated.
still the same way that my opinion is to bring the right one, accurate, so we can decide yes and do it and get it over with. But just coming back and forth, he has to secure correct plan before he come here.
He's tried that. The only other, I just want to make it clear, what Halim was suggesting that we've done before in situations, is that we'll approve it with the language of 28 by 26.2, and then we require them that prior to obtaining a building permit, they have to submit a revised plan reflecting that distance or those measurements on the revised plan.
Who would review that plan?
It's going to be the building inspector. It'll be specifically in our decision. I haven't written it, but we can put that in there. I would feel comfortable doing that, Doc. And I understand your concern. Look, I completely and wholeheartedly understand your concern. Part of it is sympathy, other part of it's frustration too. It's been a while. It's been before us a few times.
I have no problem with going forward with it and having the plan revised and presented to the building inspector.
What would you, so you're making,
All right, so at this point in time, given that this is a public hearing, I have to provide an opportunity to anyone in the audience who would like to speak either in favor or in opposition to this petition. There being no one either in favor or in opposition. Can I take a look at the draft suggested findings?
Wait, oh, there's 2 sets.
It's 2 sets, because there's one is for a special permit, and it has to do with lot coverage. All right, the subject property is located at 610 State Road, Dartmouth, Massachusetts, and is in a general business and aquifer protection overlay district, Zone 3. The property consists of a lot with 4,952 square feet, improved by a commercial single-family building, and I had put measurements, and I'll just put a single-family building. We'll cross that off.
Single story.
Single story, did I say single family? I meant to say single-story building. The petitioner seeks a variance to construct a 28, well, let's start with a smaller dimension, a 26.2 by 28-foot addition to an existing building to be utilized for office space for its business. The lot is a non-conforming pre-existing corner lot with frontage on State Road, Route 6, and Hillcrest Street. The existing building is a pre-existing non-conforming structure which stands blank feet from the westerly property line and approximately 19.8 feet from both street lines. So we have 3.9. Stands 3.9 feet from the westerly property line and approximately 19.8 feet from both street lines. I'm going to use the word approximately before the 3.9 as well, in case that dimension on the southwest corner is slightly different. Petitioner seeks relief from Article 18, Section 375-18.4B, setback, and Article 33, Section 375-33.2, minimum setback dimensions, which require that setbacks from a street be 40 feet and 20 feet from all other perimeter property lines. The addition as proposed will be 19.8 feet from Hillcrest Street and 14.5 feet from the northern property line and 3.8 feet from the western property line. So that's what they're seeking a variance from. Basically, it's a side yard, a rear yard, and a front yard setback, gentlemen. The board finds that the requested variance meets the statutory requirements as provided under Mass General Law 48, Section 10. There are circumstances related to soil, shape, and topography that especially affect the subject property that do not generally affect the zoning district in which the structure or land is located. The lot with the existing structure is a pre-existing non-conforming lot. The lot measures 4,952 square feet, and the size limits its usability. The petitioner seeks to expand the size of the building to provide office space for his business. Subpart 2. Illegal enforcement of the provisions of the bylaw would involve substantial hardship, financial or otherwise, to the petitioner. Denial of the proposed addition would involve a substantial hardship to the petitioner as it would limit the growth of his business to meet his customer demands. Third prong, desirable relief may be granted without detriment to the public good. The proposed addition is in character with the neighboring properties, and relief can be granted without detriment to the public good. And the last prong is the variance will not nullify or substantially derogate from the intent or purpose of the bylaw. The proposed addition will be in keeping with the intent of the general bylaw, the general business bylaw, and granting the variance will not substantially derogate from the intent or purpose of the bylaw. We have our usual conditions. In this case, we'd have the condition about they have to present a revised plan.
You want to be more specific?
Yes, a revised plan delineating the proposed addition at 26.2 by 28 feet, and the southwest corner of existing building from rear property, from side property line. All right, I got that. And obviously, they gotta get approvals.
The westerly property line.
Yes, westerly. I put the southwest corner building from the side. I should put from the westerly property line, best. From the westerly property line. Thank you. All right, and our usual conditions. So we're handling these separately, even though I opened them both together. So at this point, if there's any comments, I don't think we need any input from, Doc.
One more thing, that the building department to notify the ZBA that they have received it, and you review, make sure that it's correct in this office.
Well, one of the things is, because it's a condition, he will review the conditions. He gets a copy of this variance. So when before he grants a building permit, he will review this, and it says that they first have to submit it. Now, can Michelle reach out just to give a friendly reminder, given some of the status of the fact that we have it sort of in an interim situation with a building commissioner, with lacking one at this point? Yes, we could possibly do that, just to make sure that there's no oversight on that. All right. So at this point, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing on only the variance case.
I make a motion that we close the public hearing on variance case ZAV-23-7.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. All right, gentlemen, so is there any other I know the doctor has some concerns. He'd much rather see a situation in which the plan was submitted to us correctly. And I agree with him. It's just that we have done this a few times already. I think at this point, if he's gonna hit a blockade, it'll be with the building inspector until he gives him exactly what he wants. I know he's gonna have some other issues. This plan is not sufficient to go before the planning board. He's gonna have some site plan review that he's gonna have to do, and I don't believe that that's gonna be sufficient. They're gonna require some more revision. So he's gonna have an opportunity to do some of that as well.
Thank you.
No problem. So if you're okay with moving forward, Doc, and rendering a decision, I feel comfortable by putting this language in there that it's gonna be followed. And in the end, we're gonna get what you're looking for, which is a final plan with the dimensions so that we know what we were basing our decision on.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so if there's no other comments from anyone, I'll entertain a motion, either in favor or against.
I make a motion that we approve variance case ZAV-23-7 with the proposed findings and conditions previously stated.
Second motion,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. So that's one half. The next is the special permit. And gentlemen, this has to do with the fact that it's in the Zone 3 Aquifer District, and it has to do with the lot coverage, that there's an increase in lot coverage. So it says here, the subject property is located at 610 State Road, Dartmouth, Mass., and is in a general business and aquifer protection overlay district, Zone 3. The property consists of a lot with 4,952 square feet improved by a commercial single-story building. The lot is a non-conforming pre-existing corner lot with frontage on State Road and Hillcrest Street. The petitioner seeks a special permit to construct a 26.2 by 28-foot addition to an existing building within the Aquifer Protection Overlay District to increase lot coverage from 21.5 to 42%. Now, I've got some different numbers here on the plan. So I've got an existing lot coverage here for building, drive, patio, and walks that shows 60.6, and the proposed is 68.9. And we had a gentleman who was on the board of the DPW who said that their numbers were incorrect. And now that I'm looking at this, they still haven't rectified that either. So,
I don't
Doctor,
remember
I
what
think, yeah, I remember that.
No, I remember it, but I don't remember what the numbers were.
Yeah, I think it might have been, they got it here at 60.6 to 68.9, and he says that this was, actually was improving it, it wasn't making it worse.
Right.
Because it didn't take into consideration the 10%.
Yeah. Yeah, I have his note, I have the note.
Yeah.
I made that note when he was testing.
Yeah, and they said that that's not what it is, it's really 58.8,
He's got 68.9.
I got 68.9.
Right.
Sorry, because he said like, because what we did at the dry well and everything, we had a credit of 10%.
Yeah, but you didn't show it on here.
Yeah, the infiltration system would bring your coverage down, your number coverage down to 58.8%.
I the one that should be doing it, because this is like, they
Should
came
be
up
on
with
your
the number.
plan.
It should be on the plan. Look, we're gonna have to continue this hearing.
Thank you.
We're gonna continue this hearing. The first one's been granted. The variance has, but you can't do anything without the special permit. You're gonna continue this hearing, you're gonna bring us a revised plan, and the revised plan, we're gonna make this clear. I need you to take some notes. Actually, I'm gonna write on this plan right here the things that I need. I'm gonna write on this plan. I need this dimension, I need this dimension, and this needs to be recalculated. And I think what should happen is your architect or your engineer should speak to someone at the office there to make sure that they've addressed everything with us. So when they go to, even if they need to speak to, if they want to call me, I think that's probably going to be the only way I want to get this done, is they can call me so I can address the concerns. One is that this is incorrect, I want this dimension, I need that, and I need this dimension on this as well. All right, so if you can just, we'll hold on to, I'll take this home with me, just so that I'll have it in case they call me at the office.
You're gonna take that home?
I'm taking this one.
You want, then why don't
I'm
we just,
taking this one.
he can have this one.
Mr. Chair, if I may, again, have the engineer talk to DPW engineering, make sure if there's a 10% reduction, he doesn't need a special permit.
You may not even need a special permit.
I'll just talk to the building inspector if he does that, because he's reducing the nonconformity. You only need a special permit if you're increasing the nonconformity.
And if he shows that it's decreasing it,
Right,
he
and then he may not have to come back for that.
may not even have to come back if he can speak to
But he
the,
has the, I agree, I'll explain that probably later with the applicant, because this is ridiculous. I mean, you know.
thank you. All right, great. Thank you, Aline. So at this point, we're going to continue the hearing. Now, is it possible that when this gets addressed, that the building inspector will agree that you don't even need the special permit? You can just withdraw your request and you're already all set with the variance. But you're still gonna have to give me a revised plan with a
Okay.
couple of dimensions on here before the building inspector will give you a permit, okay?
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna continue this to the next hearing date. What's the next hearing date? December? 13. All right, we're gonna put him last on the hearing date. We got some other matters that are quite contentious. We'll put those first. Okay?
Okay.
We'll see you then.
All right.
You're welcome.
I'll explain.
He's gonna have to sign the extension, right? All right, fair enough. Yes, I'm gonna take that with me, so I can have that. All right, so at this point in time, we'll take a 5-minute recess so we can reconvene our board.
Okay.
Wednesday, November 29th is back in session. Continuing along with the public hearings portion of tonight's meeting, we move on to variance case ZAV-23-14. The petitioner is Eddie Lopez. The owner is Lopez Development LLC. The subject property is located at 59 Victoria Street in Dartmouth, also known as map 150, lot 137. It's located within the single residence A zoning district. This petition and request was advertised
Thank you.
on November 9th and also advertised on November 16th of 2023.
I make a motion that we waive the reading of the abutters list.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. The abutters list is available to anyone at the zoning office if you'd like to review it. The petitioner in this case is seeking a variance to raise an existing single-family home to build a 32 by 48 three-bedroom, single-family residence in a single residence A district, which does not comply with the zoning bylaws for setbacks. They're seeking relief under Article 7, Section 375-7.4D, Subpart 4, entitled Exemptions from Setback Requirements. We do have some comments from board agencies. First is our denial letter from the building commissioner. It was dated September 19th of 2023. It was addressed to Mr. Lopez. And it says, "I've reviewed your application, and at this time, your proposal cannot be approved due to noncompliance with current zoning regulations. You are proposing to raise an existing single-family home to build a 32 by 48 three-bedroom single-family residence in a single residence A district, which does not comply with the town's zoning bylaws for setbacks. A variance must be applied for and secured from the Zoning Board of Appeals in order to proceed with your request. Your application is being denied under the following sections of the Dartmouth zoning bylaw." Again, it's 375-77.4D, and the most applicable portion is subpart B that says, "The buildings or structures may be placed a minimum of 10 feet from all perimeter lot lines or 30 feet from a street line if the lot upon which the building or structure is to be located was in existence prior to October 26, 1993. The benefit of this expansion is available to lots which already had buildings or structures thereon prior to October 26, 1993. And I believe that this property is one of those, had a home that was built prior, and the lot was in existence prior to October 26, 1993. It indicates that the property is in a single residence A district, and the letter goes on, and it's signed by Joseph E. Braga Jr., zoning enforcement officer. We also have some comments from the Board of Health. The Board of Health will require the following when permit is pulled with Building Department for the demolition. The owner/contractor are responsible to retain a certified asbestos inspector to conduct a pre-demolition inspection for the presence of for the presence of asbestos. And there's a website which is referred to. Also indicates you will need to provide to the Board of Health the following prior to any Board of Health demolition inspections: a report from a certified asbestos inspector of their findings. Confirmed asbestos material must be removed by a licensed asbestos contractor, and submit documentation manifest to the Board of Health through Viewpoint that the materials have been properly removed and disposed of. You also require an air quality report and a completed asbestos notification form, ANF-001, from Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection if asbestos is found. This office will review the application and documents once submitted and schedule an inspection with the applicant or representative. Please have all personal items, contents removed, and personal property disposed prior to the Board of Health office going out to conduct the demolition inspection of any structures, meaning the structure would be ready for demolition after receiving all appropriate sign-offs. The Board of Health reserves the right to conduct their own separate inspection after the initial asbestos survey that was done by the contractors. If any building materials during this inspection look to be suspected as asbestos-containing materials and have not been tested, the Board of Health will require the contractor or owner to have these suspect ACM tested prior to signing off on the permit. No dumpsters, containers shall be placed off-site from customer's property. That's from the Board of Health. Planning. Proposed residence appears to be within the special flood hazard area, Zone AE. Elevation certificate may be required for new construction. We also have a comment from the DPW. Existing water and sewer services shall be cut and capped at property line by a licensed utility layer prior to any demolition or excavation on site. This shall be shown on the proposed site plan. A stormwater permit shall be submitted to the DPW prior to any excavation on site. Stormwater requirements shall be shown on the proposed site plan. And from conservation, it indicates that a quick review indicates that most, if not all, of the site falls within the 100-foot buffer zone to an inland bank of a perennial stream. And due to this perennial stream, the entire site falls within the 200-foot riverfront area. Any on-site activity beyond the internal footprint of any existing structure will require review and probable permitting from the Conservation Commission. And this was provided by Mr. Mark Garrett. All right, so I didn't have this prior to putting together a proposed decision on this, gentlemen, so I really haven't looked at the plan, I guess with the level of detail that it would require from DPW. But despite that, at this point, I'm gonna call upon the petitioner or their representative to come forward and state their case. Please identify yourself, name and address.
Good afternoon, it's Eddie Lopez, 24 Gammons Road in Acushnet, Massachusetts. Pretty much what we have, I'll jump right in, is an existing structure there. It's not habitable, it's unsafe, and it is extremely close to the resource area that exists already that was mentioned. So the idea was to obviously raise that structure, which is, it's essentially, because of it's also being in a flood zone, would have to be, that footprint would have to be raised anyway. So either way, that structure is gonna have to come out. What we're proposing is taking it and moving it away from the resource area as much as possible, which would fall right in line with the rest of the neighborhood. This house is literally the furthest back from the street on the whole block. So with the proposed setback that I'm asking for, it actually puts it in line with the rest of the houses on the street. So it's not something that's gonna look abnormal. It actually looks abnormal right now. It looks like a abandoned house, a little setback into the woods. So pretty much it's that front, I believe it's only the front setback that we're gonna have to request. And it's, again, primarily to get the house and the structure away as far as possible from the existing resource area.
Okay. So if I understand correctly, the only relief that you're seeking here is from the front setback. All the other setbacks you meet.
Yes, correct.
And as a matter of fact, you're actually more compliant on, when it comes to the resource, being the proximity to the resource area, which is not directly a zoning issue, but you're also gonna be not as close to the abutter that's immediately to the north, because the existing structure appears to be slightly closer than what the proposed structure will be.
Correct.
And is the reason you're not able to actually bring it further away is because of the fact that there's a wetland line there? Or there's a no-touch or buffer zone of 25 feet from the resource area?
I believe that was the engineer's thought process behind that.
Okay.
But I did suggest that we try to go as far away from that resource area as possible.
Okay. All right, gentlemen. Any questions of the petitioner?
I have a general question. Once you raise the building, You're required to comply with all the requirements of the zoning.
That's why he's here for a variance.
No, but he doesn't comply with 40,000 square feet.
No. It has a structure on it. We never had that.
He's taking the structure down.
Well, no,
Doesn't matter. It's
I
an
would be,
existing
I'm sorry.
non-conforming.
I'm sorry. I would be utilizing the same footprint. That would be grandfathered. I would have to raise because of the flood requirements.
All right, then I don't understand your plan, I guess. It looks like the existing building is behind the proposed, which says 4-bedroom, but your request says 3-bedroom.
Probably semantics in terms of the building. The actual, it's a raised ranch, so there would be an additional bedroom that probably wasn't reflected in the plan on the first level.
No, but your request that you submitted asked for a 3-bedroom.
But he's not here for a variance. We don't, for a 3 or 4. I know what you're saying. I can explain that, but let him go through.
Okay, and so there's some lines behind your proposed building that I thought was the existing building.
Correct.
Is that the existing building?
Correct.
And it looked to me when I first saw it, that you were gonna utilize one of the walls of the existing building.
No, if this is granted, we wouldn't utilize any of that footprint.
No, I know what you're saying. He can,
He's right about the dimensional, no, he's right about the distance from the property lines. He needs to come here for that.
For a variance.
But not for the lot of its buildability. It was a
No.
pre-existing non-conforming lot.
if you're building within the same footprint, you don't even have to come here. If you're building within the same
No, no,
footprint.
that part I
You don't need a
understand.
variance. But even when you take it down and you cannot meet the zoning bylaws, you need a relief. It doesn't say that you can't apply. Yes, you can, but you still need a relief.
Okay.
That's why.
No, I think what he,
I gotta take a look at the case law again, because it was
No,
my
I'll-
understanding.
I've had difficulty with this too, and that is, here's what he's saying, and I get it. And I felt the same way, too. I guess we have similar training.
Okay.
But once the building is knocked down,
Yeah.
now you don't have a structure on that lot. So therefore, that lot is a lot that doesn't meet current day
And
zoning.
it's lost its pre-existing non-conforming status.
My understanding is, and I used to think this as well as you, as you're doing right now, you're saying that, but the fact that, I think you lose the status as far as the proximity of the structure to the lot lines, but the lot itself doesn't lose its buildability, because it was a pre-existing non-conforming lot. So no different than, let's assume this lot was just a vacant lot. If it was a vacant lot, even though, and it was created prior to the implementation of zoning, it's a grandfathered lot. Now, if you want to build a house on it, then you got to seek a variance, not for the lot size, because you don't need it for there, because it's a pre-existing lot. They just need a variance for any dimensional setbacks. That's how I've come
All
to
right,
it.
I mean, I don't have a problem with the project.
I don't either, generally speaking, I don't either.
No, we've done that before, especially on those lots on Lake,
Nokichoke.
Nokichoke.
Yes,
They
we've
come
had
in
that.
with the smaller,
Those lots are really small.
small lots with summer homes. They knock them down, they build larger homes on it.
All right.
We always grant
Okay.
variances.
I get,
No, I know what
I
you're saying.
completely, I think I got a very good understanding as to what you're trying to do here.
Yep.
But there are people in the audience, and this is a public meeting, so people have an opportunity. So is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak either in opposition or in support of this petition?
Mr. Chair?
All right. Our rules here are you have to come up to the podium, you have to identify your name and your address, so we can get a sense, and if you could tell us where you live in relation to this property.
My name is Robert Labonte. I live at 58 Victoria Street, which is right across the street.
Across the street.
My concern is the setback in the front. This is a very tight street, dead-end street. Very tough to turn around down the bottom of the street. It's nice driveway in the front, 20 feet, you can get a car off the road and turn around in there. That's my first concern. So I've never seen the plan yet, so I don't know even actually what the
If I could
setback
just
is.
stop you for a second.
Sure.
It says that Victoria Street on this plan is 40 feet wide. Now, it may be delineated as a 40-foot wide roadway on the plans, but it may not have been improved to 40 feet. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
All right, so there is land there, but it's just, how wide is the road to the best of your understanding?
It's not that wide at all. Unfortunately, the two houses, which is mine and the one across the street, is right on the street, basically 8 feet from the street. The front door on both houses.
You have a ruler?
That's not what this plan is showing me
You have a
here.
ruler?
Well, it's funny, because when the street got tarred a few years back, maybe 10 years ago, when he did survey it, they did just say the road was kind of crooked.
Don't surprise me.
This is a 10 scale, Mr. Chair, so I think this is at least 25, 30 feet wide.
Well, but it shows that the roadway line appears to me, well, I thought it's.
That's the edge of pavement. I'm looking from edge of pavement to edge of pavement. This is
Yes,
the roadway line.
this is the roadway line
The
right here.
right-of-way might be 40 or 50 feet, but the edge of pavement at least 25 or 30 feet.
At least 25 or 30,
Yeah, I
okay.
don't have my.
Oh, yeah,
but-
EOP, edge of pavement, okay.
Edge of pavement is at
So-
least 30.
So if
And-
that's 40, that's at least,
Right, and what he's doing doesn't impact the right-of-way. He's not, it's not the house is gonna be in the right-of-way, you know?
No, it's not.
This really doesn't affect the traffic circulation. We'll explain that, but you know what I'm saying?
no, I see exactly what's going on here.
So,
All right, so you're concerned about the width of the road and the
width.
fact that if there's any vehicle that's gonna be backing up or driving in, how it's gonna impact anyone traveling along Victoria?
Yeah, off-street pocket would be nice there, you know what I mean? I got it across the street, I mean, everybody, delivery guys, oil guys, mailmen, it's all a tight street, you know what I mean?
The plan does have a proposed paved driveway here.
absolutely.
It does have a driveway set up on the plan. But I don't know whether or not there's, I don't, it says 18 feet wide. That's enough for two vehicles, right?
Yeah, but he's only one-car garage, that's why. But yes.
Okay.
You can,
Setbacks, just tell me that,
the setback is 30
from the front.
from the street line, but the street line, the street line is not the edge of pavement. I just want to, you know, so if you can come up here, I can explain to
sure.
you. You're right.
Flip it upside down so you can see it.
Yeah, so basically, this is the edge of pavement. The edge of pavement is here,
You just move his hand so you can get a
right?
better sense.
So from the edge of pavement to the property line, there's another 15 feet that that it's a right-of-way that belongs to the town.
Right.
From this line back, you have to be 30 feet. That's what the zoning bylaw says for this lot. He's gonna be 20 feet, so he's gonna be at least 30 or 35 feet from the edge of pavement.
Okay.
The house. That's what, and also, I understand your concern, that's why I wanted to explain to you. And from the edge of pavement to edge of pavement, this is about 3 inches maybe, I'd say, you know, I mean.
Yeah, it's at least 2.5.
So, 2.5, that's
About
at least 25 feet.
The only thing is
25 to
this, I
30.
just don't want you to be confused. The house is gonna be 20 feet from his property line, which is where the street is, but the street's not improved to that area, you understand that? It's all grass.
right.
At some point, if the town wanted to improve it, they could bring it right up to here, if they could, probably not. But what we have to go by is, his relief is not for 20 feet, his relief is for 11 feet. Because in Dartmouth, we include, other jurisdictions do not, we include porches and patios. So from the base of his steps, it's 11
Correct,
feet.
that's right, yeah.
So I have to go for 11 feet.
exactly.
But the house is at least 20 feet back. And if I look at the layout of this, there's a home that looks to me that it's within,
Like, that's the ones I was
that's
speaking of.
like
They
4
were
feet,
8
that's,
feet,
yeah.
So he's 20 feet
He's 20, the
behind
house
that
is 20
house.
feet, then he's
Yeah,
got the
no,
steps.
that's fine.
And for turning, he has his own driveway, which is 18 feet wide, and he only has one car garage, so, but by law, in Dartmouth, you have to have 2 parking spaces per dwelling.
if I may-
So one parking would be inside the garage, and then he'll have another parking space on his driveway, and turning shouldn't be an issue, you know. Most likely, your delivery guy will probably turn on in his driveway,
his driveway.
but, you know, which is gonna improve it.
My only other concern was elevations there.
Elevation, I agree with you. I think they moved it away from the resource area and they elevated the house another 2-3 feet above 2.5 feet above the flood. So he's meeting the requirements, the new requirements for flood.
I'm requesting a certificate for elevations. That's what I'm requesting.
For your house?
No, for his house.
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
listen, I've lived on the street for 30 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I've canoed up the street there several times, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I know the water impact there. And my thing is, where is this fill gonna go once he digs this hole? Is this getting pushed back to the brook?
No, you can't do that.
I know that.
You can't do that.
I know that. There's a 4-foot, 4.5-foot drop-off in the back of that foundation right now.
But I wouldn't be so concerned about runoff on this site, because it's pretty clear to me where you know where the water's gonna go. It's gonna have to go, in this plan, it's gonna go west. Most of this water's gonna go south and west, because that's
Oh, I
where,
know where the water goes there.
well,
It's,
so some of the part of the front may come out to the roadway, but most of it is gonna go south and west. That seem about right to you based on these elevations?
Yeah.
you got the new FEMA flood map anyways, right, on that?
And
on
he
that
has a
area.
walkout basement, so I think most likely in the back, I've seen it, so.
Yeah, is it a walkout on this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a raised ranch, so it is a walkout. All right.
All right, I'm fine.
I think, I
It's-
understand.
You know, any kind of
Improvement, this is gonna be an improvement to.
it's a water thing, you know what I mean? It's a natural, it's a brook, you know what I mean?
I know conservation will be happy with what's gonna go on here, that's for sure. They're making this much more compliant.
Oh, it's
From a-
gonna
from a
make the
resource
neighborhood
point of view.
beautiful. It's just the water I'm concerned about.
Okay.
That's.
And for the water also, we have, we have a policy, you can't increase runoff from your property to another. So you can't flood adjacent properties. They might, through the review, they might have to install maybe dry wells for the roof or something, I don't know, I'm not getting, and DPW might require them to do something, you know?
Yeah, they are.
So, but that's not our jurisdiction. I think what we're looking at right now is just the setback issue. That's what the zoning board of appeals, correct?
Yes, that's all we're
I
looking
mean,
at.
the rest.
Setback at 11 feet. He's compliant in all others except the 11 feet from the front.
Stairway, yeah, and you know what, like he says, everybody else has got a stairway just like that on the street.
I mean, this is a typical case for a variance, really.
If there's ever one, this is one of them. All right, so I know you wanted to make another comment. It's-
Yeah, if I may, just to address one of the concerns, it's actually a two-car garage that's proposed,
Oh,
so,
your plan shows.
well, that's just, do you have the building plan?
We have architecture, some,
And a two-car garage, okay.
yeah, I mean, as long as your
sure.
footprint
Hold on,
is
hold
not
on.
changing.
My apologies.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I have a question.
Well, but the thing is this.
Right.
Hold on, just before we get there, but the building inspector is not gonna provide you a permit unless you can show that you're gonna have 2 parking spaces on your property. Right. Now, whether or not you house 1 or you house 2, that's up to you. We can't,
Yeah,
we don't
there's
have any,
more than enough
we
room
we
there.
don't have any part of that. But whatever, there are gonna be 2 available spots to park that. The area that's been designated here for a paved driveway certainly leads me to believe there's ample space for 2 automobiles.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Doctor?
Yes. In this plan, I see the owner is different than what the owner, the applicant is, the owner, it says.
We have that quite often.
It says this owner is Richard Cabral, and this one says owner is Eddie Lopes. That's number
What
one.
do you say, what do you say? Who's it says the owner?
This one.
On the plan?
Second,
Hold on, where does it say in the plan?
it says that revised
Prepared for
10/3/23.
So they, if I may, they may have pulled information off of,
another house?
Yeah, no, no.
no, the town website, because that was a previous owner.
See, what
So they-
happens is he probably purchased it within the last year.
Yeah, it might not have been
Because it purchased it
updated.
within the last year, it takes almost 1 year for the assessor's office in the towns and the cities to actually update their records. So it's likely when the gentleman, when I say the gentleman, the architect or the surveyor went out to prepare this plan, they did put here record owner. This might have been the prior owner.
It was,
It's a
correct.
prior owner, okay, well, that explains that. So it was a prior owner on the property. That's all that is. That if you, I wouldn't be at all surprised. Is it? It has it there? Okay. Former owner was there,
Usually now
okay.
it says now or formerly owned
Now
by-
formally off. Let's see what we got here. When did he buy this? He bought this in 2021, so there's, and I don't know when they started to prepare this plan, but whenever it was, they probably went off older information.
It's been that long. They've been working on that.
They've been working on it for a
Exchange
while.
engineers as well, yeah.
Okay.
It's been quite a while.
So Richard was a prior owner. We're good. Thanks, Doc.
Okay, you're wrong.
All right, so, there being no one else in the audience at this point in time, I think it'd be prudent to entertain, well, I guess we're not gonna close it, no. Can you, provide me, there you go. Here are just some proposed and suggested findings, gentlemen. The subject property is located at 59 Victoria Street, Dartmouth, Massachusetts, and is in a single residence A zoning district. The property is improved by a single-family dwelling. We don't know the measurements of the existing dwelling, we'll just put a single-family dwelling, which is a pre-existing non-conforming structure. The petitioner seeks to raise the existing structure and erect a 32 by 48 single-family three-bedroom home. It's three-bedroom, right?
Yes.
The lot contains 7,280 square feet and is a pre-existing non-conforming lot. Petitioner seeks a variance to the front setback requirements under Article 7, Section 375-7.4 D4 exemptions from setback requirements. In this zoning district, single residence A lots created prior to October 26, 1993, structures must be built 10 feet from all perimeter lot lines and 30 feet from a street line. Petitioner seeks to construct a 32 by 48-foot home, 11 feet from the front street line, where 30 feet is required under the zoning bylaws.
I mean, did you want to add that the 11 feet is for the, and as for the porch entry and the stairs, really? I mean, it reads like the house is 32 by 48, you know?
Yes. We'll put wherein
Right,
the front stairs,
and a covered entry, so.
and is it a porch or covered?
Porch entry.
Porch entry, stairs
Let me
and
see,
porch
what is it?
entry
Yeah, there's a covered
are 11 feet
from the street.
from the street, from the front street line, where 30 feet is required under the zoning bylaws. The board finds that the requested variance meets the statutory requirements provided on MGL Chapter 40A, Section 10. There are circumstances related to soil, shape, and topography that especially affect the subject property that do not generally affect the zoning district in which the structure or land is located. The western portion of the property is subject to a wetland protection buffer area, the existing home is located within a FEMA floodplains area.
Yeah, west and, south and west, I believe, too, right?
The
Isn't it?
western, about the
well,
south and
okay.
western,
Yeah.
about the western and southerly portion.
Yes, because really, he's
Oh, man.
bound to those.
The petitioner will raise the structure and construct a new single-family home outside of the wetland resource area, requiring the structure to be placed 11 feet from the front street line. A literal enforcement of the provisions of the bylaw would involve substantial hardship, financial or otherwise, to the petitioner. Requiring the petitioner build a home 30 feet from the front street line would have significant environmental impact and would subject petitioner to significant hardship to comply with floodplain building requirements. We're gonna take a short recess. All right, so reading back, the second prong, literal enforcement of provisions of the bylaw would involve substantial hardship, financial or otherwise, to the petitioner. Requiring the petitioner build a home 30 feet from the front street line would have significant environmental impact and would subject petitioner to significant hardship to comply with floodplain building requirements. The third prong is desirable relief may be granted without detriment to the public good. There are several homes in the neighborhood that are closer to the front setback line than the 30 feet which is required. The board finds relief may be granted without detriment to the public good. And the fourth prong is the variance will not nullify or substantially derogate from the intent or purpose of the bylaw. The proposed structure is in keeping with the general character of the neighborhood and the intent and purpose of the bylaw. So here we have the usual conditions that we place, that they gotta get all necessary permits and approvals from all the boards. There are clearly, I've read into the record, there are concerns from the Board of Health, obviously with the demolition and the existence of any possible asbestos. There's also gonna be some significant concerns with the Conservation Commission and also DPW. But I think those are
Standard.
standard that they're seeking. So, having said all that, gentlemen, is there anything else that you think we need to ask the petitioner for any input? Because if we don't, then we can, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I think we're good. I don't have any concerns or questions.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we close the public hearing for variance case ZAV 23-14.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. All right, so, is there any other discussion you think that we need to have with regard to it? I think it's pretty straightforward.
I think it's a great improvement to
Yeah.
that lot and to the neighborhood too. I think, can buy.
Those were my two concerns.
No, I
couldn't get in, the building department, I couldn't get in there this week to look at the plans to start off.
We get it.
Are you gonna keep this house building inspector, by the way?
All right, so, what did you say, what?
the inspector, I don't know. No, I
We're gonna
think
have a
we-
new building inspector soon. We'll have one soon. All right, so our public portion of tonight's meeting is already closed on this particular matter. If there's any other comments from the board members, I'll entertain them. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to either approve or deny.
I make a motion that we approve variance case ZAV-23-14 with the stated findings and stated conditions.
Here we go.
Stated. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Do I need to sign anything? It's the
No,
first.
you're
No?
good.
No extensions, you don't need to sign. All right, we have one administrative matter, and that is a revision to the application, to the instructions.
Do we have it? I don't have it.
We've gone over this.
Yeah.
But I want us to take a look at it. I'd like to at least have a vote
Do it before the end of
if
the
we want to vote for it.
Yeah.
So the issue primarily was that whether or not we would require people to provide stamped architectural plans when they're coming before us for a zoning variance. And I think the concern is that's an additional cost that people are incurring, and they don't even know how far along they're gonna be able to go with the project. We do understand that the building department is requiring that they be stamped, which is fine, but at that point, I think the petitioner or the applicant is in a better position to know. So one's the original, the other one's the revised.
So what highlighted the...
Is the revised.
Okay.
We're still requiring that they be computer-generated and
Yeah.
drawn to scale. They have to be approved by the building commissioner. All plans and applicable documents must be uploaded to Viewpoint. And there's a one full-size 24 by 36 and 6 reduced 11 by 17 of applicable plans must be submitted to the zoning board of appeals via mail or in hand delivery. And if the petitioner is being represented by an attorney, engineer, or architect, a narrative supporting the proposal would be beneficial. Colored photos of the subject parcel structure are optional, and all applications must be accompanied by appropriate plans. And shall include accurate, scaled, computer-generated drawings of elevations. So now it doesn't require a stamping, which can just require additional time and expenditure for a petitioner that we may be denying anyway.
I agree. Site plans did not change. They have to be signed by a registered design professional, land surveyor, engineer, or land.
That's right.
Yeah.
They do.
Because we're granting
Yes. And it has to do
relief
with,
on setbacks.
on
yeah.
setbacks from a
Yeah.
property line, and my
Exactly.
understanding, it can only be signed by
Yeah, I
actually,
can't
is a,
believe
art-
the
an
other
engine.
case. I
is
mean,
a-
you know,
a
the
surveyor.
guy,
Yeah, well,
you know,
what are we gonna do? But anyway,
I'm
so
sorry, what did you say, that what?
So, with regard to site plans still have to be stamped by a surveyor. They have to be stamped by a surveyor. Because what they're doing is, by law, no one else can do it because they're establishing a property line.
Right.
But right now, what we're saying is for design plans for a structure, we're not requiring them any longer to have.
No, that part I understand, but there's a yellowed out section here that includes engineers and landscape architects.
All site plot plans must be stamped by registered design professional, professional land surveyor, engineer, or landscape architect, yes.
All three of them are,
no, oh,
can sign.
design, yeah, either one, but normally when it comes to.
Whatever ones are applicable.
setback, right, like, let's say,
It says as applicable.
let's say we have a case, no, I know what you're saying. That somebody's coming in to modify a site plan.
Yeah.
But that site plan, it's not about relief from the setback, relief from lot coverage, let's say. Engineer can draw that and calculate the lot coverage and say, I need a relief. If it's lot coverage allowed is 50%, he's at 55, I need a special permit or a variance for that. You don't need a surveyor to do that.
No, you
Engineer
don't.
can do that.
That's right.
Elevations, he can certify the elevation, stuff like that.
No, but
Maybe
what I,
an
what I
architect.
first heard you say was, only this specific person can certify a site plan.
Well, if a site plan is establishing lot lines, the only person that can certify it is a registered land surveyor, an RLS.
Like, I can't, I used to do that in the past. I'm not allowed, I mean, I know, I used to, we used to get rid of it, you know what I mean? But now, I don't do it, you know, and I'm not allowed as an engineer to
Which
certify.
makes no sense to me, but,
I can, right, I mean, no, what we used to do, we used to certify the boundary or the perimeter, and then I can get an offset from that perimeter
if someone else
to-
certify, you can do that.
Right.
Yes,
But
or you can do a
nowadays they
monument. He
do-
can take from a building to some other monument he can do, but not from a lot line.
Okay,
Which,
all right, you're gonna have to
I'd
teach me
rather
this
do
as
it
we
now.
move along.
Yes. Anyway.
I know,
I
they know
learned that
now.
one, a client of mine learned that the hard way, unfortunately. But anyway, so I just need a motion that we're gonna approve these changes as they're highlighted and been presented to us.
I make a motion that we approve the changes to the Town of Dartmouth Zoning Board of Appeals application instructions that are highlighted in page 1 and page 2 of the application instructions.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. All right, any other business we need to discuss, gentlemen?
No?
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Good evening, everyone.